Okay, working again. So now I've drilled a hole to drive my D-ring pin in, and it's a tight fit. It's not gonna go without a fight, but that's okay. This is some hickory. This is actually a scrap from a shield handle I was using. So this is the sort of thing that I might be driving this through. And normally the way this would go together is this would go on the back of the shield, then we'd have the shield handle, then we'd have the shield board, and then we'd spread these guys to hole. But in this case, we're going to do it without the shield board because I'm doing this for the camera, not to actually make a finished product. So I'm going to hold the legs of this thing together as I drive it. And look, now that they've entered the wood, they're holding together just fine. They're going to stay real close to one another until they come out the other side. And I want to keep my D-ring out of the way so I don't smash it with the hammer. Okay. Now here I've got the two pieces of the pin starting to penetrate. Oh, actually pretty well penetrated. I'm not all the way set yet, but now is the time that if possible, I want to get these guys to start bending. I do not want to save too much of that for the last minute. Sometimes can't be helped, but good to get a little start on that action. This will help prevent splitting the wood. If you put it all the way through, just like if you were clenching a nail, you put it all the way through and then start bending it, then it's got more leverage against the wood fibers to break the fibers, and then the whole thing's pointless because the wood's broken. Okay, so that's about where I want that to end up. This needs work. Now, I do not have to do this with a hammer. You can also get some pliers in here and get them working. So see, that's moving us closer to our goal. Frankly, if you're doing this on a shield board, this is a little trickier because you can't get pliers in there. In that case, what I would do is I would trim these a little shorter so that there wasn't as much that I had to smash. And I would work on them fairly gently, but once we got into this part, now I'm just going to do like I was clenching a nail. I'm going to be driving these guys back down, into the board. And sorry, this is a slightly awkward thing to demonstrate because I wasn't thinking ahead quite enough to actually do this when I was assembling a shield. I too can make mistakes, I promise. But you get the idea from here, what I've got. Bowed over, still moving freely. And yet, not spinning. Nope, that sucker's staying put. If I had a full board here, these points would be hooking back down into it instead of right now where they're just folding around the sides of this little piece of hickory. But the concept's the same. It's simple, but it works. It's strong. You can do this with any sort of wire. You could use brass rod. You could use steel rod, stainless, whatever you want. As long as it's something that can be effectively formed by hammer, you can do this. And I would just say that, for instance, if this was a brass ring, use brass if you can. That way, when you're shaping this thing around it, it's not going to tear up your D-ring. Whereas, like if I use this stainless on a brass D-ring, the stainless is a lot harder. Forming it around it, it could gouge the brass a little more. Minor issue. The bottom line is it's medieval technology that is highly functional for stuff we do today. And honestly, if you do it in a piece of otherwise modern carpentry or something like that, it gives it a neat old world flavor, because this is literally as old as carpentry in the world. So it really is old world. But you're not giving up the slightest bit of functionality, quality, or aesthetic appeal, as long as you practice this just enough to be able to do it without it, failing dramatically. Any questions on any of this? Please message me. Thanks.